So anyway, so the NFL games. Did you want to talk about the Colts Patriots game? It was kind of interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I listen. Everyone is going crazy. Oh, the Colts ran the ball. They ran it down their throat. Blah blah blah. Jonathan Taylor's awesome. Yes, but Carson Wentz literally tried to give that game to the Patriots. He threw one interception and he threw two interceptions that just weren't caught.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like the Colts. I was on the Colts to start the season, and I just don't buy this. They can't, like, New England played pretty bad and almost came back to win the game.
Right.
Like they played pretty bad. Like that, the Colts should have beaten them by 30. Like in the first half, the Patriots had no chance. They couldn't run the ball, and Mac Jones was throwing bad interceptions, and so, But yeah, Carson Wentz, Jesus. I mean, thank God the coaches were like, no, just hand the ball off, because
Yeah.
that would have been a problem. So I think the Colts can make the playoffs, but I don't trust Carson Wentz to come through in a game. He's too.
They kind of tell you that, like sometimes they don't let them throw because it's just like, let's just run the ball. So yeah, no, look, the Colts they've got a really good roster. If they keep drafting well, then they can continue to be good and be, a playoff team. But, if you got Carson Wentz and you're having to protect him like that, then.
And the thing is, he's too good to have to be dealt with that way. He's too talented to where you have to manage him. It's just ridiculous. Some of those throws, it's just he's throwing into triple coverage. He should know better. It's one thing for Mac Jones to do it, but Carson Wentz, what are you doing? I mean, It's just. I think it was like in the third quarter, he had like 38 yards passing or something. I was just like, what is happening? So that being said, the Colts have everything that you need, though. They're good on both lines. Their defense is really good. They really run the ball well. They have good receive. Like, they have everything you would want. So it's kind of disappointing, but we'll see. Maybe something will happen in the playoffs. Hopefully. I think the book's obviously written on the Patriots. If you stop the run, they're going to have a hard time.
You don't want to rely on Mac Jones to.
I don't know how many teams can actually stop them from running the ball.
That's the thing, yeah.
But that game, Buffalo, New England next week, is going to be really good.
Yeah,
that basically could decide the division. So yeah, I mean, thoughts on the 1:00 games? I mean,
yeah, the Dolphins were
unimpressive.
I like the defense got a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which was good. There were a couple. They almost had a couple interceptions. It seemed like there were some plays that were kind of close. They missed some tackles here and there, but overall the defense played pretty well. There was the good, there was the bad, and there was the ugly. I mean, there was a pick six, when they're up by 7, which was really, classic example of a, not rookie mistake, but just a young quarterback mistake. You eye one receiver, and then the cornerback watches you the whole time and just jumps the route and runs into the end zone. So that was bad. He made some throws. He wasn't really as on as he normally is. There were some quick throws that he missed where it was like, why was the ball here when it should have been here? He didn't have Jalen Waddle, so maybe that's something there. Jalen Waddle had COVID. But they ran the ball, although I will say that the commentators were giving the offensive line credit, and I was watching the game, and they didn't seem like they got a lot of push. It felt like a lot of the runs were off tackle or off, around the side. And it seemed like Duke Johnson just made plays. He made people miss, and he broke tackles and stuff. So, the offensive line was better. I mean, I didn't feel like Tua was running for his life the whole game, which granted some of that was because he was getting rid of the ball. But there's some good things that I guess you could say. It's basically like, okay, now they're 7-7. They were 1-7 2 months ago. So they've basically rescued their season from being a total disaster. So they're 7-7. So even if they were to lose their next 3 games, they'd be under 500, but it's not like the worst, it's not like an absolutely terrible season. And Tua, this is his like 18th start. So some of the mistakes he made, I'm kind of like, okay, 18 starts in, like, I'm not going to totally rip you for that. I mean, I've seen veteran quarterbacks throw passes like he threw that become a pick six. I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen to Peyton Manning, so I don't want to totally jump off a cliff. I mean, the timing of it was pretty freaking terrible when you're up 7 and you're trying to drive down the field, and then the other interception, he just made a bad throw. Like that was so like I don't want to totally rip it. Like it didn't look like a bad read. It was just he made a bad throw. So there were a couple bad reads where I'm like, why the hell are you throwing the ball there? But I don't know. It's 18 starts in, and like, look, my whole thing was that, and I was going over this last week. My cynical view of the Dolphins is basically like beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and then try to stay close in a couple games against teams that are a little better than you, and see if you can eke out a few wins. And they've kind of done that this year. There were a few games that they probably should have won, and if they'd done that, then they'd be in much better position to try to make the playoffs. So yeah, there is kind of a formula, but they still need to improve the offensive line and all the other stuff we've talked about ad nauseum all year long. So
yeah, I like I think you said that about the running back. That's the kind of running back that they need, because they're not going to be clean holes, and the offensive line is not good enough to consistently block people.
They did this against the Jets, so right. What do you make of that? Are they going to do that against the Saints in New Orleans next Monday night? I don't really think so.
Yeah, but I think they at least have another back that maybe can make some plays. I liked they obviously didn't come ready to play in the first quarter, so that disappointed me. But I liked that Tua threw the pick six.
Bye week. Yeah, that's the other thing I just remembered now. They're coming off a bye week, and you start off the game like, okay.
Yeah, struggling with the Jets at home I'm not real thrilled. But I did like that after Tua threw the pick six, he came back and they went down the field and they scored the touchdown. I think that's important.
No, and there were some other throws that he made that I really liked. Like he threw some that were kind of into coverage, or he like threw over people, and there was a good throw to Ford, like down the left side, and it was basically, I think it was a third down. It was third and somewhat long, and he threw the ball to him, and they got the first down. But there was another play where there was a busted coverage, and the guy was wide open, and he underthrew him, and the defense just batted the ball down, and that could have been either a touchdown or a really big play. So,
yeah. So we're still lukewarm on the Dolphins, but the good thing is now we're going to find out what they're made of.
Exactly. They play the Saints on Monday night, and then they play the Titans, and then the Patriots to close out the season.
Yep.
And the Patriots at home.
Yeah. So I am interested to see how they do these next 3 games. We will find out.
I would argue, like, even if they lose the game, like, can I watch them and see something? Can I see you, like, competing with them and staying close? Like,
Right. Yeah, I think with New Orleans, are they ready for that defense? New Orleans has a good defense. I know New Orleans is 5-7 or whatever. I'm not saying New Orleans is a great team, but they're not easy to beat in their stadium.
Yeah.
And they have a good defense. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Tennessee, physically, can the Dolphins hang in there physically with a team that's as physical as Tennessee is?
Yeah.
And because Tennessee basically plays like the Dolphins would like to play.
Yeah.
And then, I'm just hoping for.
We used to play on the Dolphins.
Right. I'm just hoping for a shot at the last game of the season, having a chance to ruin the Patriots.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Ruin the Patriots year. That's really what I'm hoping for. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. We can't fault them too much. They won 6 in a row. So 6 in a row is 6 in a row. You can't get too high or too low about that.
Yeah.
Man, the Cardinals lost to the Lions today.
Yeah, they
can't believe it.
That's not good.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly. I mean, they had everybody. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is out for the rest of the season, but they had pretty much everybody else.
Yeah.
And to go to Detroit after they didn't play really well against the Rams and got beat, you would have thought they would be ready to play. But they really weren't.
I mean, getting blown out by the Lions, I mean, it's,
Yeah. I can't believe the Steelers are still alive. I mean, the Steelers are like Michael Myers at this point. I mean, I don't know how the hell we've shot them, we've stabbed them, we've burned them. I don't know what to do. and
Yeah.
and they managed to hang in there anyway. They're right now they're in the 10th spot in the AFC, which basically the entire, 13 out of the 16 teams in the AFC are still alive. So, so it's
exclude the Jaguars and the Texans and the Jets.
Right.
Just about everybody else.
Everybody else. That's right. That's right. So it's pretty crazy. I don't know how the Steelers are doing it, but credit to them, man. They beat Tennessee. I don't even know what to say.
And the Chiefs now, after all the shit that went on this season, the Chiefs are the 1 seed.
Right.
So,
for the moment, we'll see how it all shakes out.
They're once again the scariest team in the league because they're not, okay, with their offense playing the way it is. Come on, they're not. Their offense isn't very consistent, and
And they have a tough schedule. I think they have to play. They have to play No, they don't have to play the Chargers. I forget. I think they're playing. No, not Dallas. I can't remember. They have 3 tough games, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The Cowboys managed to win again, even though they didn't look great doing it. They struggled to beat Washington, and they had a hard time with the Giants today. So
that's why I remember in the middle of the season, Colin Cowherd was like, "Yeah, this is a different Cowboys team. I think they're for real." And I was just like, "I need to see more. I think they're a good team. Their defense is good. They can, But yeah, they've been kind of struggling. Sometimes their run game has been kind of inconsistent. Dak has been kind of, up and down. I do think it's kind of funny, right? Like Dak didn't really play that well against the Redskins. He threw 2 interceptions. 1 interception was kind of terrible, and people are still like, yeah, Dak is what he is, whatever. Tua today had, 2 kind of bad interceptions, but but some people might be like jumping off a cliff about it. Like, oh God, see, he's just not the, this is kind of, I feel like this is kind of what happens when you get into the mid-tier quarterbacks. You just kind of, you don't know, sometimes they have slumps or bad stretches where they just kind of don't play that well. So, but yeah, the Chiefs, I don't know how much I don't really want to get too much into the Chiefs. Their defense is playing well. Their offense is just kind of, I give them credit because they've continued to win games, even though they're not playing that well, which speaks to, earlier in the season, I was like, they're going to miss the playoffs. And obviously I was way off about that, which a lesson to people, like when you're coached by Andy Reid and you have Patrick Mahomes and you have a stable organization, they tend to start to figure things out. Maybe they're never going to get back to what they were like last year or the year before, but they're still a really good team and they still have a good foundation. So you can kind of see your way through, especially beating teams that aren't that good.
Well, and we didn't anticipate the AFC being so packed together like it is. It's only a 2-game difference between the number 1 seed and like the 12th seed or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. Kansas City has Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Denver to finish out the season. So
okay.
Not going to be easy. That I think the Patriots Bills game next week is a huge game, not only for the AFC East but for playoff seeding in general. Because the Patriots have, I think, the Dolphins and somebody else not good. So if the Patriots were to beat Buffalo, that would really kind of flip things around a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted the Bills. I wanted to comment on something because they lost to the Buccaneers last weekend, and then I watched First Things First on Monday morning, and Nick Wright is just basically making fun of the Bills. He's like, oh yeah, you were close to winning that game and you didn't win that one, and then you played the Titans and you literally fell on your face. And I just remember listening to that and it just pissed me the hell off because it was basically like he was kind of saying, well, if you make a mistake or some crazy shit happens, like you slip, well, that was your fault. And I just think that's completely and utterly ridiculous. And it's like, and also to rip the Bills for that game. Okay. Their offensive line was kind of playing like shit in the first half. Josh Allen was running for his life. Okay. And he manages to get them back into the game. He injures himself. He keeps playing, and they they came close. They kick a field goal to tie it, and then the Bucs get the ball, and Brady throws a nice pass, and the guy runs all the way to the end zone. I mean, what do you want me to do? Shit happens. I'm not going to sit there and rip the Bills. I mean, the Bills obviously have problems. They can't really run the ball. I think the second half they ran the ball a little better.
Well, and I'd like to point out, Josh Allen outplayed Tom Brady in that game.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody noticed.
Yep. And their defense in the second half shut down the Bucs. The Bucs had like 3 points.
Yeah. So I know everybody thinks, Brady won, so therefore he's fantastic. I get it. But Brady's not been the best quarterback in the NFL for a pretty long time now.
Yeah.
He may be the greatest of all time, okay? But he's not the best in the NFL, not by a lot.
Yeah.
So
I just get annoyed with that, where a result happens and then we draw these giant conclusions from it, or then we have these ridiculous, like the whole thing where when the Bills lost to the Titans, Josh Allen had the ball and he was trying to do like a quarterback sneak and he slipped. Okay, so I'm supposed to say, oh, he sucks. Yeah, he's a loser. He can't win big games and blah, blah. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I said this a week or two ago. I'm not selling my Buffalo Bills stock. If they lose to the Patriots this week, okay, then, but I still think, like, if you're asking me, I think Buffalo's better than New England.
Yeah.
I know that the Patriots won that game and everybody thinks it's the greatest thing ever because they won while throwing 3 passes.
Bills almost won that game. And then to draw a conclusion, just because they didn't win that close game, that, that just means it's like a Skip Bayless argument. Oh, they have no clutch gene.
Right.
Yeah,
so we'll see. When Buffalo beats New England next week, then I want to hear where everybody's buried. You want to bury the Bills, be my guest. But I'm not burying them. They're a game out of their division, and if they win next week, look out, folks. So, Anyway, did you have anything else on the NFL before we?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, that was it.